Ooh, hello hyperspace, my name is Davontos and it's time to get hyped because this is some epic Infinite Warfare gameplay I actually recorded I think yesterday or sometime today. So in this video I actually want to talk about Call of Duty as a franchise and what has happened to the franchise. So I believe it was last week Wednesday's video, I said I'm going to discuss why Call of Duty is dying, what's happening to the franchise, why isn't it popular anymore, and that's what we're actually going to cover. Now this is a very debatable topic and a lot of people have their own opinions on why it is what it is now, why isn't it popular, and first off, the majority of the people are going to say it's because of the supply drops. But in my opinion, I don't actually think it is the supply drops that killed Call of Duty. Yeah, the supply drops aren't a good thing to have, but they're not responsible for killing the franchise. If you actually look on what's happening around the entire gaming community, it's not the supply drops, because there are other games that have these so-called supply drops, like Overwatch, like Rocket League, and those are two very popular games in the community, and they have these supply drops, and they are not affecting the franchise at all. Now granted, Call of Duty supply drops function differently, but if you look at the big picture, they're still technically supply drops, and they're meant to gamble to see if you get what you want. And a lot of people would say, oh, it's because of the movement system. I don't think it's because of the movement system either, because if you look at Destiny, I know Destiny 2 kind of flopped, but Destiny 1 was very popular. Destiny 1 kind of had that advanced movement system, and Destiny 1 was very popular at the time, and there are actually still people who played Destiny 1 despite Destiny 2 being out, because as I said, a lot of people say Destiny 2 sucked. So I don't think it's the movement system, because even people still play Black Ops 3. Yeah, a lot of people hate Infinite Warfare, but Black Ops 3 still has the advanced movement system, and people are okay with it. The reason I think Call of Duty is dying, the reason the franchise is just going straight downhill, is because people are just tired of it. It's the same thing every single year, and I know you hear that a lot, but it's actually true. Call of Duty is what you would call an arcade shooter. Basically, when you go to those old school arcades, you would, you pick up your gun, you're actually holding the gun, and when you look at the screen, it's just your man walking in a straight line, and then enemies would pop up, and you just gotta turn your gun and shoot them. That's an arcade shooter. That's basically what Call of Duty is, but everything is taking place in the virtual world. You have your controller, and you're making your guy move forward, and you see your gun on screen, as you would be holding your gun in real life in an arcade shooter, and you just wander around the stage, and when an enemy pops up, you just point and shoot, and he dies instantly as if you're shooting laser beams, hence the term an arcade shooter. So every year, it's the same thing with Call of Duty. Yeah, they changed the setting, they changed the maps, they changed the characters, they changed the weapons, they changed the story. Everything changes, but at the end of the day, it's still an arcade shooter. We can actually compare, let's say, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 to Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. They are completely different. Modern Warfare 2, yeah, the time was during present day. Infinite Warfare, long time in the future. All their guns. Infinite Warfare got laser beams and futuristic weapons. Modern Warfare 2 has some current day weapons. Some of them may be a little outdated now. And same thing with the campaign. Modern Warfare 2 campaign was very gritty, very dirty, very bloody. While Infinite Warfare's campaign is all futuristic, kind of like something straight out of Star Trek or Star Wars. But at the end of the day, the way the game plays, it's still a shooter game that plays exactly like an arcade shooter. And it's not just shooter games, it's not shooter games in general that's actually going downhill, because if you look at games like Fortnite, or should I say Fartnite, if you're actually looking at games like Fortnite, Overwatch, and all these other fun games, they're still shooter games. They're just not arcade shooter games. Overwatch is a team-based shooter. Fortnite is what would you call that? A build 'em up shooter? I don't know. But either way, when I played Fortnite and when I play Overwatch, they don't play nothing like Call of Duty, and you see these two games are very popular. It's just games that are the arcade shooter style that aren't popular anymore. Look at Doom. Doom came out and it's not really that big because a lot of people are just tired of it from Call of Duty. And one way to actually prove that the advanced movement systems did not kill the franchise is we got Call of Duty World War II, and that was something a lot of people were asking for. We wanted boots on the ground, we wanted to just move away from the jetpacks, and when they gave us World War II, it just didn't feel like it used to back in the day. And yeah, people can say, oh yeah, but World War II wasn't a good Call of Duty. Well, if you actually go back and look at Modern Warfare Remastered, to this day, a lot of people would say Modern Warfare 1 was the best Call of Duty in history. A lot of people would say that. And Modern Warfare Remastered is basically the exact same thing, just remastered. And even still, you can purchase MWR separately, and it's just not making any sales, because, as I said, they're just tired of the arcade shoot-em-up kind of style. And then, people can say, oh, it's just remastered, we played that before. But, I mean, think of it, they remade Spyro, they remade Crash, and a lot of people are still going back to play that because, adventure games aren't outdated, just like arcade shooter games are outdated. So for the future of Call of Duty, I feel like, I mean, it would be really weird if Call of Duty puts on a Fortnite kind of playstyle where you get to build stuff. It just doesn't fit the military aspect. But I think Call of Duty can actually move into the Overwatch kind of aspect where you can actually select your tank and you can select, your speedy character. Because if you actually look at how Overwatch functions and how Call of Duty functions, if you just make a little tweaks here and there, it can actually work. You guys remember the Juggernaut from MW2? Yeah, he can be the MG guy or your tanks in future Call of Duty. It's the big bulky guy who moves very slow, he has a ton of health, and he has a big MG. And you guys know when you're running shotgun, you're speeding all over the place, well, they can be your tracers for future Call of Duty. So I feel like if Call of Duty were to make a change, I wouldn't say go towards the building combat like Fortnite, just lean more towards the role select Overwatch kind of aspects because it fits how Call of Duty has to be played. It's just going to change it a little bit, because nowadays you can take an MG and still run around. Just change it. Future Call of Duty's take an MG, you just can't run around because you're going to be big, bulky, and slow. So if you like this video, punch that like button with a mighty force. Let me know why you think Call of Duty franchise is dying in the comment section below. You can follow me up on Twitter at DavontosMan. And as always, I'll see all of you in the next video. Have a nice day.